Direct in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome to another edition of the Hitting the Field podcast. We got a 2-for-1 special this week. Yesterday we spoke baseball with Charlie Reyes and Emily Hernandez, but today we are pivoting over to the NFL with me, your host, Jeremy Brener, and we got two guests in the studio today. We got Mr. Jon Whitley to my far left. John, what's going on, man?
What's up? Another great week of football. Fired up to chop it up with you guys.
Fired up as always. And we also got Tyler Fellerman coming back. Tyler, come over to the mic. You're like too far. Come on.
I'm here.
Come closer. All right, we won't bite, I promise. Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Another day to talk sports.
Beautiful. Before we get to football, though, I'd be making a mistake if we didn't at least mention the magic that took place last night. Juan Soto comes up to the plate, down 2 runs. You got bases loaded, full count, and what does he do? Shows up. That man showed up last night. What are y'all's thoughts about that game last night, that moment, what it means for the postseason, what it means for the Nationals? Tyler, I'm going to start with you. What do you think?
I think the Brewers got to learn how to chew their food because they sure choked that one yesterday. I mean,
nobody was there for the Heimlich.
I know. 2 runs in the first inning, and then they just get one more on and then can't really separate from the Nationals.
Yeah. They really, after the second inning yesterday, they looked gassed.
Yep.
Yeah, John, what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I thought it was an incredible performance. I feel like that's why we watch the MLB playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And, October baseball has a different feel to it than the rest of the year. So, props to that. I also wanted to talk a little bit about tonight's game, Rays and A's. I just wanted a quick prediction on who you guys think is going to win this game. Tyler, what are you thinking?
I think the A's, I like how hot they are right now. I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, all right. Tyler, you got the A's, the AL West foe of the Seattle Mariners. Is that part of the reason why?
Yeah, might as well just stick with the inner division team.
Yeah, and then John?
Yeah, I'm taking our home state team, the Rays.
Rays.
I think they're just the hotter team right now.
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up. I'm going to stick with the A's like I mentioned on yesterday's podcast, which if you're looking for baseball content, that's where you should go. You will not get as much baseball content on this episode of the Hitting the Field podcast, but go ahead, check out yesterday's full preview of the entire MLB playoffs on our YouTube page, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, and also check out our main show, which airs Mondays at noon on YouTube. You can go like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube page as well. So now we've got baseball out of the way. It's only 3 minutes, guys, but let's get into the meat of what we are here to talk about, which is some NFL football. And we are at the quarter mark of the season, and it feels like it just began. And it's so unfortunate because it's like we waited so long, and then boop, a month just passed. I just kind of want to ask y'all, which team has impressed you the most in the first 4 weeks of the season? I'm going to start off with Tyler. Tyler, which team has impressed you the most so far? And speaking to the mic, we want people to hear you.
Impressed the most? I would probably have to go to the team that just lost last week, the Bills. I mean, I'm not ready to give them the best defense in the league. I'll still give that to the Patriots, but they are right behind them with a close number 2. And, I mean, I expected them to have a good year. I think they have a pretty easy schedule, but this defense has just blown me away. And 3-1, when was the last time we saw the Bills 3-1?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Bills come in with every year, and they don't give you a reason to, rule them out. Like last year, it was, we have a rookie quarterback. Let him play it. Let him play it out. And now it looks like they are. It looks like Josh Allen is molding himself into what the Bills envisioned when they drafted him. Is more of a, a quarterback, a dual threat, a legit dual threat quarterback, and someone who can win. And honestly, like the Bills' wins this year, they haven't been pretty, but they get the job done. And 3-1 is a lot better than most of the teams in this league right now. We have to give credit where credit is due. John, I want to talk a little bit more about this Pats-Bills game from Sunday. Probably one of the more interesting games of the year. I won't say exciting because not a whole lot happened, but that is what made it interesting in my opinion. What was your biggest takeaway from Pats-Bills on Sunday?
Yeah, I think we really might have saw the two best defenses in the league. I think Tom Brady was something like 17 for 38.
Yeah, he was definitely under 50%. That's for sure.
Yeah, which is
18
for 39. He's got the stat right
These
here.
notes are coming in.
Yeah, that's incredible to hold Tom Brady for that. He's been one of the most efficient quarterbacks we've ever seen. So props to the Bills defense. Maybe Tom Brady's fallen off the wagon a little bit though. He is 42 years old. Time catches up to you.
I mean, in Brady's defense, I think a lot of the reason why that percentage, the completion percentage went down is because he threw away a lot of balls. He didn't take as many sacks. Usually, some quarterbacks, younger quarterbacks, will take sacks because they don't know how to throw away the ball, or they choose to try to, let me try to make a play. And there are some quarterbacks that can, like Pat Mahomes can make a play, Russell Wilson can make a play, Deshaun Watson can make a play. And they don't opt to throw away the ball. Tom Brady at 42 knows. He's like, bye.
Yeah.
This play's not happening.
It's not just the completion percentage, though. He threw for no touchdowns, and he threw a bad interception in the red zone. That's not something we'd see a lot from Tom Brady. I really think he may have fallen off the wagon. He's 42 years old. And like Charles Barkley said, Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, I think Father Time is, I'll say this. I think Father Time is, everything in one, and I feel like Tom Brady is the one. I feel like Tom Brady has almost beaten Father Time at this point, but you are right. Father Time will get his day someday, and he will take Tom Brady. But Tyler, is Father Time catching up to Tom Brady?
No, I'm not ready to say that yet. I mean, that's a big narrative coming after this game. Is Tom Brady too old? Is he done? This is the second best defense in the NFL in this Bills team, and I mean, if you look at all the stats by all the quarterbacks that played in this game, Matt Barkley had the best game out of all three quarterbacks. And
he didn't have that great of a game either.
And, nobody had a really good game as a quarterback. And when you play against these two defenses, it's very hard to have a good game. So I'm not ready to say he's fallen off the wagon just yet.
What did we learn in this game about the Patriots defense? 4 interceptions. They held the Bills to 10 points. And to be honest, that's the highest total the Patriots have given up this year, 10 points in one game. What did Sunday's game say about the Patriots defense? Tyler, what did it say?
It says that they're the best defense in the NFL. I mean, they go against another great defense. Their defense wins. I'm putting Patriots number 1 defense, Bills number 2 defense. Yeah.
John, are these the 2 top defenses in the NFL right now?
Yeah, I think they are the 2 top defenses in the NFL. I think the Patriots is quite a few strides better than the Bills. Still, they seem like they got an elite guy at just about every position, or at least a guy who's playing at an elite level. So I think the Patriots are still by far the best, but the Bills might be the strong number 2.
And the thing is, strong number 2, that can mean something, but when you're in the same division as the number 1, it really it can really muddy things up, and it can almost depreciate the value of your team. The Bills in October have 3 games. They get the Titans on the road, followed by a bye, then the Dolphins at home, then the Eagles at home. And the Eagles game is the one game that intrigues me. And also, don't count out the Titans. The Titans are a 500 team, meaning the Titans will come out and lay an egg half of the games of the year. But also, in the other half of the games of the year, they will ball out.
They'll drop 44 on you.
They will drop 44 on you. And I just think that, look, what is the outlook for this Bills team at the end of the year? What is their ceiling at the end of the day for the Bills, Tyler?
A wild card team. I mean, if you look at their schedule, it is not that tough. It's very winnable games for them and their defense. I mean, I see 10 wins out of this Bills team.
10 wins. John, you think 10 wins?
It doesn't help that they have to play the Patriots twice.
Well, they only have to play the Patriots once more now.
But you also get the
but
Dolphins
they already
twice.
lost them once. That's one loss. You're gonna get another loss when you go play them again. You do get to play the Dolphins twice. That is a good point. The Jets twice too.
They have the Redskins.
So as much as it hurts them being in the Patriots division, the other two teams in that division should be 2 easy wins. I think they'll contend for a wild card spot, and I think it'll really come down to whoever finishes second in the AFC South versus the Bills for a wild card spot.
Yeah, the way I say it is this: you can't win the Super Bowl in September, but you can certainly lose it. And I think it's safe to say that the Bills haven't lost it yet, and neither have the Patriots. I do want to pivot a little bit. John, I want to ask you this question: who were you the most impressed by after September? After all the games in September, what team has impressed you the most?
Yeah, for me, it's got to be the Green Bay Packers, just because from last year to this year, I think they've improved more than any other team. They have an elite defense this year. We haven't seen an elite defense from the Packers since they won the Super Bowl. So to see that is amazing. Mike Pettin has proved he's maybe the best defensive coordinator in the league, certainly a top 5. So they've impressed me the most by far. And Rodgers, finally getting to see him healthy. He looks like a new man.
Yeah. So I did this yesterday with Charlie. And John, I'm going to give you the same opportunity. I know you're a Packers guy. I'm going to give you 3 solid minutes right here to talk anything you want Packers right now on the air, uninterrupted, totally up to you. Talk your case about why they are, and go.
Yeah, I think for one thing, you got an elite defense. Rodgers is always going to make plays on offense. Even when Devontae Adams came out of the game, he was able to use his legs, drive us down to the goal line, playing with bum receivers. Let's be honest, after Devontae Adams, he's got a bunch of bums out there to throw to. So to see him drive his ball downfield is amazing. Matt LaFleur may be holding him back a little bit. I think you get after Matt LaFleur's greatest scripted drives, he's got a long way to go as a play caller. Once he gets down to the goal line, it's like he didn't know what to call. Also, he's throwing a Jimmy Graham. I don't know if Jimmy Graham has 2 hands. He dropped, I think, 3 one-handed passes, so that doesn't help Rodgers either. They got to get him some help on the offensive side of the ball, but he's going to keep them competitive. They had a long week to prepare for Dallas, so I think they're going to come out really strong against Dallas, pull off that win. They do have a hard schedule ahead of them. I will give them that. They got to play the AFC West, so you got the Chiefs and the Chargers coming up in the future, but I think they've got a real good shot to win the NFC North and make a Super Bowl run too if this defense holds up in December.
You got like 2 minutes left.
Oh, that was only a minute.
Yeah. I mean, you're succinct and you're to the point. And that's 2 very good qualities.
Did you just call Valdez Scantling and Jarrell Allison bums?
Yeah, they are bums.
I mean, Marquez Valdez Scantling went to USF, so
yeah, exactly.
That should prove it right there. Yeah, that's the first USF dig on the HTF podcast. Well said, John. I think you got all your points out there. Props to you. But I do want to I'm going to take the conversation and wherever it's flowing. Packers play the Cowboys this weekend, and probably the biggest game of the week, I would argue. Packers coming off a loss on Thursday Night Football, but they get the Cowboys, and this is probably a very important game in terms of seeding, potential January preview potentially. Tyler, what? Let's talk a little bit about the Cowboys. John, talk Packers, you talk Cowboys. What do the Cowboys need to do to bounce back from their disappointing Sunday night football performance and win the game?
Give the ball to Zeke Elliott. I mean, this is a team, we all talked about them. They were 3-0. We said this is their real test. They're going against Teddy Bridgewater in New Orleans. Let's see if they're a real team or if they just played bums in the beginning of the season. And I think they answered that to us.
Zeke had 65 combined yards, 65 total yards from scrimmage in Sunday night's loss. He had a touchdown, though, but 18 carries, 35 yards, less than 2 yards per carry is not what you need from the back you just paid an incredible load of money to. It's not. You need a little more bang for your buck, I think. And so I think I think you're right. I think that is the key to victory for the Cowboys is you need to feed Zeke, and Zeke needs to eat. And also, that's that's props to the New Orleans defense, I think, as well. Is, that New Orleans defense, we talked about the Bills defense, we talked about the Patriots defense. What about the Saints defense? The Saints defense honestly might, challenge them for maybe number 2, number 3, I think. I mean, I think you can definitely say that the Patriots are number 1, but also you look at the Saints after the Rams game, where they kind of just, laid an egg. The last 2 weeks, they have been probably the most sound defense in the entire league, and I gotta give them credit. And but I think with Dallas, it's a bit of a struggle. I think with Dallas, you kind of have to go into a shootout. And Dallas is that kind of team now that can. I think with Kellen Moore at the offensive coordinator position, I think that he has the potential to, throw out a prolific offense. And I think that you can give it, like, he has the keys to create this power offense that can score on 5 drives out of 5. And I think that against the Packers are no longer that team. I think you said it, John. If you can take Devontae Adams out of the equation, you got to force Geronimo Allison to make some catches. You got to force Marquez Valdez-Scantling to make some catches, and that's not a guarantee always. So I think that if you're Dallas, the way you win this game is you force the Packers to play your game. You use Zeke Elliott as the weapon that he is. You use Amari Cooper as the weapon that he is. You use Jason Witten as the weapon as he is. He's been playing far better than I think anyone ever expected. Someone who didn't even play last year. Dallas is probably the most widespread, balanced offense in the entire league. And 10 points is not enough to prove that. John, I'm going to let you close this out.
Yeah.
How are the Packers going to win this game?
The Packers are going to win by controlling Zeke Elliott. Dak is not going to have a good game. Dak does not play well against good defenses. Okay, so the key is holding Zeke in check. The Eagles seem to have found some holes in the Packers' run defense, so they got to tune that up this week. If they can hold Zeke in check, Dak is not going to have a good game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I assume you think the Packers are going to win.
I do.
Tyler, what are you thinking?
I think the Packers take this win. I think their defense is actually better than New Orleans this year. I think that's a big part of why they're 3-1, and I think they control the Cowboys just like New Orleans did.
Honestly, I'm gonna side with John on this one. I think that the Packers have this game up, and I think that part of what will help is the fact that they have a little more time to prepare. I think that, when you have 3 extra days to prepare for the undefeated Dallas Cowboys, I think you take advantage of it. Matt LaFleur and Mike Pettin, they have been studying the Cowboys for longer than the average team has against the Cowboys, and I think that they're going to try to manipulate how things are done. I think that the Packers are going to take control of the game early, and I think that they're going to utilize their strengths, and they're going to try to limit what Dallas did. Because the thing is this, New Orleans put up, I want to say, like the textbook way to limit and neutralize Dallas. New Orleans did that on Sunday Night Football, and they got the win. So I think what the Packers need to do is almost emulate what the Saints did, and kind of just limit Zeke and force Dak to throw, and Amari Cooper 5 catches, 48 yards, very difficult game for him. And I'll say this though, that Packers secondary is probably one of the most improved units in the entire league.
Most improved.
The most, yeah, you can definitely make a case for that. They are one of the most, if not the most, improved unit on any team in the NFL right now. So it's gonna be a tough challenge for both teams, I think. But I'm gonna give the Packers the edge, the slight edge. I wouldn't be surprised if this game came down to a field goal or something like that.
I think it's going to be very similar to what we just saw in the Cowboys versus the Saints game.
Yeah. So I do want to talk a little bit. So there are 3 undefeated teams left. We talked a little bit about the Pats when we were discussing the Bills earlier. But we have the Patriots, the Chiefs at 4-0, and we also have the Niners at 3-0. Niners coming off of a bye from last week, so they are half a game behind these two teams. But nonetheless, they are one of the final 3 undefeated teams. Are you guys surprised by how many teams are still unbeaten? Would you expect more? Would you expect less? What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'd expect a little more. I mean, the Saints certainly could be, especially if they had Drew Brees still. The Cowboys, I thought for sure they were going to sweep the Saints with
we were
Teddy
not high on the
Bridgewater at
Saints the last
quarterback.
time we talked.
Yeah, so I think the Cowboys should be undefeated. I definitely expect more undefeated teams than we have right now. But I've been very impressed with these 3 teams.
Yeah, Tyler, which team should be undefeated that isn't right now?
I mean, you can look at both the Cowboys and the Seahawks, who both just lost to a backup quarterback, and Teddy Bridgewater, who both have chances of being undefeated right now and aren't.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to expect one more team to be undefeated, I'd pick the Rams, just because they really looked bad last week. They 55 points is the most any team has given up, except for the Dolphins in Week 1. Giving up more than 40 points, in my opinion, is just totally unacceptable. And both teams did that on Sunday.
I think this Rams team is a shell of what they were last year. They do not look good defensively. Jared Goff is a very slow start to the year. He had a good
500
game.
plus yards on Sunday.
Yeah, that's good. But I mean, their defense just looks
That's good. Yeah,
really weak
But
against the pass.
I mean, if you have a quarterback that can throw for 500 yards and you don't have the defense to back it up, you can't win football games. That's great. Like, if you throw for 500 yards and you lose the game, you cannot carry the team, and that is a problem because in most cases, a quarterback needs to be able to carry a team, and Jared Goff can do everything he possibly can and still come up short. That's a problem.
I think it was a really good showing, though, considering they're coming from the West Coast to the East Coast in Florida. Most California teams don't do well when they have to travel to Florida. So putting up 48 points, I think, was a pretty good showing overall.
Yeah, I mean, they were in L.A. They were in L.A. this week, yeah.
Forget what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, but
we also haven't been seeing...
Tampa's 2-0 on the road and 0-2 at home.
Yeah,
I
that's
think-
Tampa for you.
Yeah, that's Tampa.
We also haven't seen Todd Gurley at all compared to what we saw with him last year. So this Rams team is a little different than what we saw last year.
Yeah, but to bring it back to let's bring it back a little bit to where I wanted to go with this. Of these 3 teams, Niners, Patriots, Chiefs, who is going to be the last undefeated team?
I think it's got to be the Patriots. If Tom Brady can have that bad of a game and they can still win.
Against a good team.
Against a good team, yeah. So, I mean, if your quarterback can throw for no touchdowns and under 50% completion percentage and you still win the game, it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah. I think, Tyler took the time out of his day yesterday to write out these schedules coming up. Patriots, they get at the Redskins. Lord bless those Redskins. Home against the Giants. Lord bless those Giants and Daniel Jones. At the Jets. Lord bless those Jets. And then you get the Browns.
Easy win.
That's at home. I like their chances there. And then at the Ravens, probably their toughest game before their Week 10 bye.
And then out of the Week 10 bye, they go into the Eagles, which is probably their next toughest game.
Yeah. I mean, those 3 games look like a cakewalk for the next 3 weeks. So easily 7-0.
Definitely.
The Browns is going to be their toughest game since the Bills game.
Especially if the Browns can get their feet under them, especially how they're playing right now. If they can keep this rolling, look out for that game.
That's gonna be a fun game to watch.
But Freddie Kitchens coaching toe to toe with this Patriots coaching staff is just not even a game. Like Freddie Kitchens should not be an NFL coach.
No, he really.
If he sticks to running the ball with Nick Chubb, he'll be fine.
Is true.
Freddie Kitchens is going to be
Nick
playing
Chubb versus
checkers,
Sonny
and Bill
Michel.
Belichick will be playing chess.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
I mean, you got to look at. I mean, I don't think any of us are really betting on the 49ers going far. I mean, they got the Browns this week. They got the Rams the next week. Redskins should be easy. But, I mean, that Browns and Rams games, they could easily lose
two very up-in-the-air games.
But then
if they can get past those two games, get the Redskins on the road, I believe that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
And the Panthers, which Kyle Allen is 2-0, but also he fumbled the ball 3 times last week.
Yeah.
He won because Deshaun Watson was incompetent. That's why and DeAndre Hopkins threw an interception. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team.
DeAndre Hopkins threw an interception last week. So that's where the Panthers are, picking off DeAndre Hopkins and fumbling the ball with Kyle Allen. So and then you got the Cardinals.
Should be easy.
Look, I think this. I feel like the Niners here aren't taken seriously enough just because they aren't on the same level as the Patriots and the Chiefs, but they are. I mean, if the playoffs started today, and there's a reason why we play 16 games, but if the playoffs started today, the NFC Championship goes through Santa Clara, and honestly, if they go, 9-3 or 9-4 down the stretch, that's a 12-win team, and I think you can find a way to get 9 wins out of their remaining schedule.
And this 49ers defense has not allowed a rushing touchdown yet this year, which is big. I mean, their defense is kind of slept
I like that matchup with Nick Chubb on
I think
Monday.
that changes Monday night.
Yep. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But when we talk about undefeated teams and which one will stay the longest, look at Week 14. We got Patriots versus Chiefs.
Well,
could set up a perfect.
Could you imagine?
versus unbeaten.
Could you imagine them both being 12-0?
Who wins?
Meeting up.
Who wins?
I mean, the
at
game
New
is
England. I'm
in
taking
New
New
England.
It's at New England. I'm taking New England.
I think that honestly, that's a game though that I think the Chiefs win 5 times out of 10 and the Patriots win 5 times out of 10.
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate how it's somewhat unfortunate how the AFC Championship comes down to one game. It's honestly about who shows up on the right day. Now, I think let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs here because I think that the Chiefs also have an argument to be the last undefeated team. They got a lot of primetime games coming up. They got 3 of the next 4 games on national TV. You got the Colts this weekend, Monday night, Texans, Week 6 at home, Week 7, Broncos on Thursday night. Broncos have not won a game yet. And you get the Packers on Sunday night. That'd
be a good game.
Ooh. Vikings, the worst offense in the NFL versus the best. And honestly, I'm trying to find a game where they lose. If anything, they lose to the Packers. Yeah. But if they can win that game,
that'll be a shootout.
Vikings. The Titans game actually worries me here. In week 9 or is that week 9 or week 10? Week 10. That game actually worries me because the Titans have an ability to show up at the most opportune time and then not show up at the worst time.
Yeah, that and because at that point the Chiefs are going to be feeling pretty secure in their playoff spot and in their division. The Titans are going to be in desperation mode at this time, so I think the Titans could steal one.
That's also part of it is complacency, and you also look at the Ravens with the Week 9 Sunday night game with the Patriots. That's another game where it's halfway through the year, November's starting, and that's where teams in the middle of the pack have to make their move. And you could look into the Ravens possibly pulling an upset, although that game is in Foxborough, so I think the chances there are not as likely. However, the Patriots, I'm looking forward to seeing the Ravens the Patriots defense against Lamar Jackson. Tyler, you want to say something?
I was just saying that it's at Baltimore.
Oh, it's at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's at Baltimore. So yeah, I mean that even more. I think that Lamar Jackson against the Patriots defense is one of the more enticing matchups coming up, and I think that look, these teams are going to be tested. I think we saw that this past week the Lions were a test for the Chiefs. They passed that test.
The Lions are legit this year. I really like this Lions team.
Yeah, what did they do on Sunday that impressed you the most? Lions.
The Chiefs' defense is not good, so I'm not going to say their offense really impressed me, but I mean, just their defense against Patrick Mahomes, 0 passing touchdowns. That's got to be a win for that defense if you go out and Patrick Mahomes throws 0 touchdown passes.
Okay, then how do you do this? You hold Pat Mahomes to no touchdowns, at least, with his arm. And you still lose. You fumbled the ball twice inside your own 5.
Yep.
Inside the 5. That's 2 touchdowns they could have given away. One went back for a touchdown.
99-yard touchdown for fumble recovery. That's how you lose the game right there.
The Lions, I'm here to say it, the Lions, and shout out to Chris Davis, but the Lions are the biggest fluke of the first quarter of the season so far.
Really?
The biggest fluke.
Matt Patricia might be the real deal. And I'll tell you,
giving up 34 points without Pat Mahomes throwing a touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you this: Matt Stafford looked like he outdueled Patrick Mahomes.
He did
without those fumbles in the end zone. And I'll tell you, Matt Stafford is an underrated quarterback in this league. I think it's unfortunate that he's had to play for such a bum organization that doesn't know how to run things. But I think if he plays for a legitimate organization, he's a Hall of Fame elite quarterback. That's how good he is.
Lions get the Packers after their bye week.
Who do we like in that game?
I like the Packers.
Where's it at?
It's in Green Bay.
Probably.
It's Monday Night Football.
But what if Devontae Adams is still out? Do we still like the Packers?
Yes. Honestly, I cannot stand the Lions. The Lions are the team that grinds my gears. And no, I have no reason to dislike the Lions. They are nowhere near my team. They are in the NFC far. Like, we don't play them until, we play them once every 4 years. So, look, the Lions just irritate me because they shouldn't be. Their record is not indicative of how well they are as a team. Keep in mind, this team blew a 24-point lead, or something like that, a 3-score lead to the Cardinals week 1. Let's not forget that happened. And I think people are easy to forget that. They beat the Chargers by 3. They beat the Eagles by 3. Now, but that was also flukish, too, I think. I think it was a fluke. The Lions are the biggest fluke out of 4 weeks.
But they got the win. That's big to know how to win a game.
Yes, important. Props. Love it. Amazing. Unbelievable. But you haven't played the Bears yet. You haven't played the Packers yet. That's 4 losses right there. I truly believe that. I think the Bears and the Packers are far better than the Lions.
But the Bears' offense? You're going to take the Bears' offense over the Lions' offense? I would not. Mitch Trubisky might be... Who knows how long he's out with that shoulder.
Also,
even if he is in, you're still not... I mean, the Bears, they're going to score like 10, 13 points. The Lions can put up points. The Bears cannot. At the end of the day, who is about...
I mean, the Lions have put up 27 points in 3 of 4 games this season. I will give you all that. In the game that they didn't put up 27 points, they did win. So I will give you all that. Are the Lions a playoff team, though? That's the real question.
I think time will tell, but I think the Lions are kind of like the LSU of the NFL, where we get really high on them when they look good early in the season, but then once they play some tougher games, they fall off, they lose their intensity, they lose their focus, and they miss the playoffs again.
They play the Cowboys this year, they play the Bears this year. Look, here's my thing. I think it's hard for me to see an NFC playoff picture without both Chicago and Green Bay. And I think that's something that the 3 of us can agree on.
Definitely.
That leaves 1 wild card spot for the rest of the NFC.
And
does that go to the Lions?
No. It's going to go to either the Rams, the Seahawks, or the 49ers, I think.
What about the Eagles? What about the Eagles?
And look, you have the Eagles. You have, the Rams and the Seahawks are both 3-1. They're not leading the division right now. So I think the Lions will fall by the wayside soon enough.
I think the Bears could get themselves out of the picture.
Really?
By not being, because they had
Roquan Smith
offense.
is out.
Roquan Smith. I mean, that defense is still disgusting. Let's not kid ourselves, but
that's
they
still
can't put
part
up
of the
points.
defense.
And you got the Eagles, you got the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, whoever is there in that NFC West. And then plus the NFC East, too, with the Eagles and the Cowboys. They've got a lot of competition for that wild card.
Well, I think that this whole Trubisky thing is it's kind of overblown a little bit, just because he isn't going to be out for too long. I mean, I think, obviously, a blow, but he doesn't have to play this week. He's not playing this week against the Raiders. Then they get a bye. Then he will I expect him to be back on the 20th. That's 3 weeks removed from an injury. And it appears from what we're hearing out of the Bears camp is they are optimistic about his return. They see him coming back sooner rather than later. That's the wording they chose. And sooner rather than later means, I'd be shocked if it took more than 3 weeks to see him come back.
But I mean, even if he does come back, you can't find another quarterback that's going to pass throw a quick slant and a dump off to the running back.
I think part of it is they need to figure out how to unleash David Montgomery. Once they figure out how to unleash Montgomery and how to properly use him, they'll be okay.
I mean, you have to hope so. Mitch Trubisky, no Mitch Trubisky, I see literally no silver lining for this Bears offense. I don't think David Montgomery is like he'd have to be Christian McCaffrey to really get this Bears offense going. I mean, from the Chicago Bears watching, there's absolutely nothing to be optimistic about with this offense.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that point. But so here's we're gonna pivot here a little bit. We've talked about good teams. We talked about playoff teams. Now I want to talk about the bottom of the barrel, just teams that just aren't doing so hot. And I think it's that time of the year where we're discussing, teams that could fire coaches. And I don't think we had. I can't remember the last time a coach was fired in season. I don't think we had one last year. I can't recall one off the top of my head. Mike McCarthy, late in the year. I think that the first head coaching fire could happen far sooner than McCarthy. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be surprised if all 32 head coaches still had their job by the beginning of November. I think someone's I think someone's being sent to the showers a little sooner this season. But the thing is, there's so many people it could be. So I'm going to ask you guys, John, who is going to be the first coach to be shown the door this season?
Yeah, I think it's Jay Gruden. I think it's a lock. I think the problem is he gets micromanaged by Dan Snyder, and they're not on the same page. So anytime your owner coach is not on the same page, it's just you're not going to win games. So I think Jay Gruden is really a lock to get fired. It's really a matter of when.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Redskins just haven't been able to catch a break really this season. But you look at the Redskins here, and they get the Patriots this weekend. They don't even need to play this game. It's already been decided. Patriots are a 15-point favorite. Look, I think they'd be making a mistake if they started anyone but Dwayne Haskins at this point.
I wouldn't put him out there against this number one defense. Jay Gruden doesn't even like Dwayne Haskins. He doesn't have a game plan for him. Why would you throw him out there against the Patriots when he
save his job?
He's desperate. He's got to try anything at this point.
But he just threw 3 picks.
If he starts Colt McCoy, he will be fired after he takes his first
snap. He loves
because Dan Snyder is the Dwayne Haskins guy. Gruden is not.
Fire Jay Gruden. If Jay Gruden trots out Colt McCoy to this, if it's Case Keenum, it's Case Keenum. That's fine. But if you're going to play your backup quarterback that isn't your rookie that you drafted with a number 1 draft selection, you have to fire him in the middle of the game.
I would love to see Haskins
fire him in the middle of the game.
If he wants to save his job, he's probably going to go with the quarterback that he trusts the most and that has been in the offense before.
Keenum.
And that's Colt McCoy.
You think it's Colt McCoy?
I think so. I think he knows he can't do that because of Dan Snyder, but I think he's got to stick to his guns. And frankly, I think he doesn't even care at this point. I think he almost wants to get fired. Look at his demeanor on the sidelines. He is done.
I don't even know if I would want that. I don't even know if I want that position at this point.
Yeah.
It's just you need to get if you really wanted Haskins, you really need to show that you wanted Haskins. And I think that, look, I'm going to be honest, you know who looks like a real interesting head coaching candidate right now? Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore could be a head coach next season. It might take 2 years, but Kellen Moore is 31 years old. Kellen Moore will be a head coach before he's 35. I don't think that's a question at this point. And I think it happens, in the words of the Bears, sooner rather than later.
I think it could happen after this season.
I agree, especially with if Washington decides to stick with Haskins, you need. And you look at the Packers. They went after Matt LaFleur, a quarterback based head coach, and I think that's where you're seeing hires go in that direction. You're looking more for you look at Cliff Kingsbury hired in Arizona. Those are the Zach Taylor hired in Cincinnati. You're looking for guys that can groom their quarterback because now more than ever, it's a quarterback-based league, and it has continued going in this trend for years now. So I think Kellen Moore makes a lot of sense, and I think that I think that he could be a head coach, and I think Washington is almost a perfect spot for him. But the one team that I actually think will fire their head coach, even before Washington, is the Atlanta Falcons. I think Dan Quinn's seat is a lot hotter than Jay Gruden's. And Tyler, you're smiling at me, so I know you had something to say.
Yeah, you guys just jacked both my picks.
I jacked both? I'm so sorry.
I mean,
you can just look in my eyes and just know how sorry I am that I've done that.
Nah, it's all
I will never be able to repay you. All right. Well, I'm going to let you take the floor with this one because I jacked your selection. So talk about why Dan Quinn will be the first one fired.
I mean, it's his 5th year there. Ever since that Super Bowl against the Patriots, they just have not looked the same
Haven't
at
made
all.
The or did they make the playoffs once before?
I think they made the playoffs one more time.
The year after, yeah. They lost to the Eagles.
Yeah.
With
and then
Nick Foles.
They just looked like a shell of themselves since then. I mean, they switched up coordinators. I think Dan Quinn needs to just come on back to Seattle and be our defensive coordinator again. How about that?
Think, look, the moment it all changed was when Kyle Shanahan went west.
Yep.
And I mean, like I said, I think that you're looking more at offensive head coaches are having more success in the NFL than defensive head coaches right now. You look at Vic Fangio, who is one of the most sought-after head coaches. He's 0-4 right now.
Four first-year coaches.
Brian Flores. Brian Flores, 0-4.
Vic Fangio and Dan Quinn, they both have all the pieces to have a great defense, and they're not doing it. So I think that doesn't help Dan Quinn's case. I think in Seattle, he just inherited the perfect situation with the personnel they had on defense, and that's why he's so successful there. But like you said, he has not had any success since Kyle Shanahan got out of
Yeah.
When you look at the Falcons, I mean, 7th in pass defense, 18th in rush defense.
The defense is not the problem.
27th in rush offense with Devontae Freeman.
Yeah.
How? How is that possible?
It's because they're not. They have Julio Jones, arguably the best wide receiver in the league. Look,
Calvin Ridley.
The Falcons have at the Texans, at the Cardinals, 2 games that aren't easy to win. I think they can pull out at least one of those wins.
Cardinals, they should
maybe
be able to beat.
on it. They will go 1-1. I'm not going to say who they're going to beat. I think very well be the Texans, because the Texans, they're also a 500 team. They're going to lay an egg half the weeks, and they're going to shock the world half the weeks. But you also get the Rams and the Seahawks at home to end out October, and then it's your bye week. I think if the Falcons go 1-3 in this 4-game stretch, they're going to be 2-6 at the bye week.
By Dan Quinn.
And then you go to the Saints. You go to the Panthers. Yeah, and you have their November schedule is 5 straight games in the division. 5 straight divisional. That's crazy.
That is crazy. I think he's going to be out. But can I say who I really like to coach this Falcons team?
Who
I like Kellen Moore, the quarterback guru, to take over the Redskins. I think that's the perfect situation. But I would love to see Lincoln Riley take over this Falcons team.
Yeah.
I think with the pieces they have on offense with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Matt Ryan, I think they're a Super Bowl team if Lincoln Riley's their coach.
Yeah. Lincoln Riley's also been linked to the Texans job because Bill O'Brien is also someone that is on the hot seat, per se. But, Bill O'Brien's not going to get fired anytime soon. I think because he's got a chance to at least make the playoffs this year. I don't think you can say the same with Dan Quinn's Falcons or Jay Gruden's Redskins. But the Texan, that's a whole other animal. But the thing about Lincoln Riley, though, he still has something to prove at Oklahoma, though. And I think that's part of the reason why he'll stay. And look, Oklahoma right now is averaging 100 yards more per game than any other team in college football.
They're disgusting.
Number 2, the UCF Knights. But I mean, like UCF's offense is so good, and to think that the next team is 100 yards better than that's crazy. That's
That's why I think we could see Lincoln Riley take the jump to the NFL. Josh Heupel goes and replaces Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma.
Oh, we can only hope.
God.
We can only hope. But I think we'll definitely talk a lot more coaches fired and all that when it actually happens. But I think we'll be having this conversation sooner rather than later, in the words of the Chicago Bears. But we are about to wrap up a little bit now, but I do want to get into, it's the quarter season mark. I want to go over some quarter season awards, just quick answers. Tyler, who is the rookie of the year out of September?
Offense or defense?
Both. Give me both. Why not?
Defense, Darnell Savage. I mean, the Packers defense is carrying that team to a 3-1 record right now. Offensively, I'll go Josh Jacobs. I think he's the best rookie running back this year, and out of all the rookie running backs, he's got over 100 yards more than the next one. Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs and Darnell Savage. All right. I know you like that Darnell Savage pick.
I like the Darnell Savage pick for defense. I'm going in a different direction, though. I've got Chase Winovich for the Patriots out of Michigan.
It's a very under-the-radar pick.
But he is a football player.
Mm-hmm,
He's the kind of guy when you watch, you're jealous your team didn't draft him.
Yeah.
He's a playmaker as a pass rusher. I love watching him play. He's got a high motor. Offense, though, I gotta go Gardner Minshew. He's disgusting, and he's tearing up the league. He's such a marketable figure. I feel like Gardner Minshew is almost what we wish Baker Mayfield was.
Gardner Minshew is the underdog version of Baker Mayfield, and I think that's why he's a lot more likable.
That's why we like
Baker
him.
Mayfield has a very infectious personality. He's very easy to like, but he's also very easy to dislike. Gardner Minshew, I feel like you get all the good, but none of the bad.
Well, I think with Baker Mayfield, it's like he's got to let his play do the talking, and then you can come out and show your infectious personality or whatever. Gardner Minshew, he builds his brand through his play, and then lets us talk about him. Baker Mayfield, it's like he's got too much to prove, and when he can't back it out, then he just has to do that much more talking to compensate for it.
If he played more than 3 games, Terry McLaurin should get some love.
Hollywood Brown,
but Hollywood Brown also, after week 1, he's kind of come back to earth a little bit. I do like that Gardner Minshew pick. I'm gonna side with John. I'm gonna go with Gardner Minshew. I think that he's not gonna throw for the most yards. He doesn't have the receivers for that necessarily. Although he's making DJ Chark look like a top 10 receiver in the league, and that's hard to do. So I'll go with Minshew on that. In terms of the defensive side of the ball, that to me is, I'm going to give it an incomplete. I really don't see one specific guy that I would pick to be like, oh yeah, this person is far better than anyone else. I can't see it at this point. But
if the Steelers were better, I'd probably say Devin Bush.
Yeah,
he has 10 more tackles than the next rookie defensive player.
For me, Chase Winovich, honestly, it feels like a landslide pick.
Yeah, Chase Winovich makes sense. 3 sacks. He's not the kind of guy though that you're gonna look in the box score and be like, yeah, he's the kind of guy where you need to watch the games to show. And we've seen more Patriots games than the average fan.
Well, and we're gonna continue. They got plenty of national televised games. He's on a relevant team. I think that's all the more reason why he will win this award.
He will show it off, but also we have a long season left to go. We have a long season left, and we will be here at Hitting the Field to document it all. And that's incredible. All right, but thank you guys so much for coming back on the Hitting the Field podcast. Jon Whitley and Tyler Fellerman here with me in the WNSC studio here at the Nicholson School of Communication and Media on the campus of the University of Central Florida. And we will be back a week from today for another episode of the Hitting the Field podcast. But also be sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Hitting the Field. We've got a lot of new content, and we are rolling this ball. We are in the thick of things in the season. We're no longer at the beginning of the season. No more preseason jitters, anything like that. But, hockey season starts tonight. Yep. I thought I'd at least mention that. I'm not the hugest hockey guy, But I did want to mention that. Shout out to Jessica Herman, our ex-host with the most and all the hockey advice. I know she's excited tonight.
October is MLB, NBA, NHL.
It's literally the month where
NFL.
everything is happening.
Yep.
So October literally cannot be a better month. We got literally everything going on, and we will have the content here for you at Hitting the Field. So I'm going to sign off now, but we'll be back on Monday for another episode of the main show at noon. Be back next Wednesday for another podcast episode, and we will also be back on Monday for another episode of Might I Add with Kyle Partain, and someone in this room will also be making an appearance on Might I Add, and it's not Tyler and it's not John. It's me. It's me. I'm gonna be on Might I Add next week. But yeah, so we will continue to bring you all the content, all the love, and till next time. Thank you for tuning in.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.